everyone, and welcome back to our Take on Cruise with Shannon and Roger, or
Roger and Shannon.
My name is Shannon McKee of Access Cruise, and of course I have with me
Roger Blum with Cruise and Port Advisors, and it is 2024.
It's 2024, and it's good to be back together.
I missed you. You've had a busy time.
I've missed you too, and you've had a very busy time.
I know, but yours sounded, well, Chicago. We were in Chicago. We were with the family. It was wonderful. But you were like cruising the rivers of Europe.
I was cruising the rivers of Europe, and I have to say, I loved river cruising. I really did. We talked about it a little bit last week, and we were just comparing some of the notes about what we did. I think my favorite stop on the river cruise was our time spent in Budapest. And I did learn that it's not Budapest, it's Budapest.
And that's actually was originally two different cities on two sides of the river.
Yes.
What's really funny is we did our river cruise in August, as we've talked about before, and we did pretty much the same itinerary.
We did the same itinerary. We did Dürnstein.
Yes.
We did Passau.
Yes.
We did Vienna.
Yes.
Right. And
Linz.
I think Linz. We did go into Linz too.
And of course Budapest.
And of course Budapest. And what was your favorite part of the cruise?
I guess as far as a city, Budapest is absolutely amazing. It really is. We, fortunately, and I think you did too, we spent a few days there before the cruise in a hotel. I guess you were there afterwards. We really got to know the city. The city itself is beautiful, but it's also fun. There's a lot of fun stuff in that city. So we had a great time.
Well, I'm looking forward to go back because in the winter time, it was great because there's all the holiday markets that you can walk around, but all the fountains were off. And I think that there were a lot that we missed as far as the ambiance of Budapest, with it being the winter months. Although we were very, very lucky for the South Floridian because the temperatures were in the 40s and 50s mostly when we were there. So while we were bundled up, it wasn't that cold.
So you were lucky. But what was interesting is when my wife and I, Marie, she's behind the camera, did our cruise, I couldn't believe, and I think I spoke about it, just how many ships, boats, whatever there are on the river. It was packed. And I was surprised you said it was still busy.
It was still busy. When we pulled in, there were ships pulling alongside of each other. The first day, we had to walk across the ship to get to our ship. On the last few days, there were ships lined up. I was really surprised, but another one of my highlights is we were in Vienna on New Year's Eve, and the fireworks display were 360 degrees, but there were fireworks going off right next to the ship too. It was right overhead of us. It was amazing. It was spectacular.
So nothing beats a family vacation on a cruise, whether it's in the oceans or the rivers.
That is a very true statement. And speaking of cruises, there's a couple cruise lines that have been very busy already here in January, including Cruise Saudi, who has now announced the ship that they're going to be using for their cruise line, which I'm going to say this wrong, I suspect, but it's AROYA. Is that how you would say it?
I think so, and that's of course the former world dream of Genting.
Yes,
so it's a giant ship. It's a big, big ship.
And they also announced their president. So they just announced the president, who is an industry veteran. Dr. Jörg Rudolph is going to be the president of the cruise line. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot more announcements. They haven't said the date, although they did say in 2024 the ship would start sailing out of Jeddah.
Interesting, because also Cruise Saudi has their partnership with Aman Hotels for their super duper duper ultra luxury vessel. So that's going to be pretty cool too.
Absolutely. Now the other big news came out of American Cruise Line. They were also very busy here at the end of 2023 and into 2024 because they've announced 5 new vessels that they're going to build out of their shipyard in Maryland over the next 2 years.
Well, that's great because we were talking about European river cruising. River cruising is taking off in the United States too, and I think American, it's a combination of inland river ships and coastal ships. So there's a lot of domestic cruising now starting up here in the U.S.
I think maybe we need to hit up the Robertson family and see if we can go on an American cruise line river cruise.
Hint. So 2024 is starting off exciting. It's great to be back together
again.
It's great
to be back together.
And we will be back with you next week.
Well, but we're going to be doing some split editions because you've got a very busy schedule this month.
I have 2 cruises coming up, but I will fill you in on them.
Never stops cruising.
Well, you're pretty good at that too.
See you next week.
Bye.